Okay, so here is our nuke. This is July 23rd. I'll tell you, once again, very odd year. Very, very odd year. Just everything paused. Everything paused. They were just with the way the weather was and everything. Just amazing. Okay, so already I'm feeling pretty substantial weight in this box, which is, I certainly will say, is a very good thing. Once again, if you flip your lid up like that, kind of see over here, perfect stand to put your boxes so that you don't get a bunch of, if you put them down on the grass like that, you can get a bunch of crap stuck underneath them. So that box is good. This box is definitely definitely filling up. We want to take a peek here. Let's take a peek at one of the newer frames, because that'll be a little bit more telling of how heavy the flow is that they got going currently. Let's see here. Just starting to draw it out. Oh, there's the queen. I don't know if you can see her. Probably not, but she's on that frame. So what I'm actually going to do, I know she's up here, which is pretty normal when you're adding a box. I'm actually going to switch what I'm going to do is I'm going to under super them. That one, you know what, let's leave it for a little while. They've actually got a pretty fair amount of space that they can draw out already. But what I am going to do, I'm going to throw this one on top of this one so that any brood that is here, they already start to backfill, because obviously with this being a Western deep or whatever configuration, medium, we want to get that out of rotation by the end of the fall, or the end of the summer, I should say. So I'm just going to grab this one off real quick. This one's definitely full of, yeah, that's full. Oh, and here here's what you can have too if you have a feeder without a float. You just an open feeder like that, they will do that, so we'll scrape that off. Once again, that was a really great added bonus that I actually got to see the queen was where she is, so I don't have to worry about crushing her. Let's see, let's just pull this over here. Yeah. All right, and we'll throw this one back on there like that, and throw this medium on here. I'm adding a bit of a gap for extra ventilation and also just efficiency. You think about it, when the field bees come back with nectar, they give it to a bee that receives it and places it in a cell, and you think about how many lengths this is for a bee to walk if he's having to, or she is having to go in the bottom all the way up to place honey. A lot less efficient than if they have some openings through the stack. And then once again, just gives added ventilation, not only to help them keep cool, but also to cure honey. Here's our split that we did. This has the old queen in it. Beautiful. Anyways, like I was saying, they have good population, but kind of curious to see if they're building out just barely. A few little patches here where they're starting to draw out. So I am going to go ahead and throw a third on here just to give them space. And that'll be all we do with them right now. With you know, once again, busiest time. Oh, here, let's add a gap again, about half inch gap. Once again, you know, you want to get your bees prepared for the honey flow, so that when it's that time of the year, you can just let them go, do their thing, and disturb them minimally. And so what we're probably going to be able to do, though, depending on the way this year looks, like I said, very odd year in the sense that everything just stopped because it got cold, it got rainy end of May, and it almost lasted for what, 2.5 weeks. We had yards we were going out and feeding just last week because they were almost on the verge of starving. And it's never a good thing when you have yards that are starving in the middle of what is supposed to be your honey flow. So what we're looking at doing is reassessing our yards here by the end of this week, seeing where things are at. If it looks like it's not going to be a strong honey producing year, we'll probably just take our losses there and just go and focus on making increase. So what I was going to say is that between these two splits that we have here, we could easily make you know, 2 more, so that we're going into the winter with 4 colonies, all originating from one nuc that we started last spring, and kind of take it from there. Only other thing I really have to do today is these here are hives that we transferred from our 4-frame nucs because they had outgrown them, and then we gave them a round of syrup, and as you can see, they're already ready for seconds. These are ones that we put seconds on last week, and they're looking pretty. They're looking really good. Yeah, they're looking really good. Let's see. Definitely ready for a second. Ready for a second. Ready for a second. Come on. Come on. There. I'll have my hive tool with me here. Nice. Looking great. See, these ones we fed, and so they, that one's a pretty sad case. That one probably, whatever the case, we'll call that one out. Let's flip the lid over. Last one. Yeah, it's a little weaker one. They've still got, just as a little side manipulation that you can do, what we could do, I'm just going to probably leave them, but when you're building out new foundation, you could take this one and put it over here, just move it in one. Because they're weaker and they most likely have their brood in this area, we don't want to separate that. But we could take this frame, move it over to here, take one of these, set it actually between this frame and the feeder, and just kind of motivates them to get drawn out. What'll really motivate them, obviously, is if we did another round of feed, but we're also trying to avoid feeding if we don't have to, simply because, you know, it ends up being a pretty major expense. But no, they're expanding well. These were all, like I said, 4-frame nucs that we had to transfer into standard size equipment, simply because I was just getting tired of, we'll throw one on there. You know, these 4-frame nucs, I'm really conflicted about them. It definitely needs another. Simply because they're great for making increase, and they're fun. I mean, they're kind of fun to play with. but they're also really time heavy management wise, and so that's where I'm a bit. Here's my other type of hive tool. Come on. Okay, yeah. Oh, these bees are looking good. See, here's another thing too. See the activity? It's pretty thick there on the front. So, oh yeah, that one definitely is ready to be transferred. So that'll be actually both sides. Both sides are definitely ready to be transferred into a full deep. So, but that's what I mean. You know, when you're assessing bees. Sorry about that. When you're assessing bees, you just learn to watch for certain subtle stuff. I mean, just something as simple as that. Okay, there's a lot of activity. They're kind of clustered out there, indicating that they're running out of room. So, anyways, so yeah, so two colonies from the original nuke last year, doing good. And once again, just make sure your bees have space. Don't hesitate to feed them if they're looking a bit sluggish. I know I've had a few people tell me they were experiencing that. And like I said, these ones here receive 2 rounds of feed. We're just doing 1-to-1. We're just doing a very light syrup because we're really not worried about trying to put weight on them. We're just wanting to stimulate them as a bridge between the dearth that we were experiencing and the honey flow that we were expecting and knowing would eventually come, which now finally it is. So anyways, I'll catch you a little later.